Hi everyone, I'm Simon from Stampix and welcome to Loyalty Expert Talks, where we share insights and best practices on loyalty and customer experience. Today, I'm very excited to speak to Kim Hardaker from Etihad, not only because she brings a ton of experience to the table today, but also because she's the first woman on our show. So Kim, welcome, and from where are you dialing in?
Thanks, Simon. Lovely to meet with you and proud to be the first woman on the show. I am dialing in from sunny and warm Abu Dhabi today.
That's better than here. Lucky you.
We cannot complain. Blue skies almost every day.
Great, great. So Kim, I've mentioned your current role, which is Head of Loyalty and Partnerships at Etihad. But perhaps for our listeners out there, it would be good to get a quick overview or a recap of your previous roles, especially those that are linked to loyalty.
Sure. So I have quite a vast history. However, while most recently in a pure play loyalty role, everything that I've ever done in my career has always had a member or a customer at the heart. So if we start off, I started my career in a variety of, for a variety of brands working in marketing and advertising, and moved on to agencies. So probably most notable is Ogilvy and Mather in Sydney. So after some time with Ogilvy and Mather, I moved into some more specifically digital and film agencies, where I got to do a little bit more of, explore the creative side, but also see how we could create these meaningful and, I suppose, interesting experiences using new formats. And then following that, I moved into Qantas Loyalty in 2012, where I was responsible for all of their loyalty touch points. So Qantas Loyalty has about 7 different loyalty programs or sub-programs. And then invited to join Etihad Airways in 2015, in which I took a similar role that I had in Qantas. And then after some time focusing on their digital platforms and evolving those experiences, I stepped in to take over Etihad Guest in November 2018. And here we are today.
Wow, great. Congratulations on the career path. And
Thank
not
you.
to mention the award you won with Etihad Guest for Best Frequent Flyer Program, right?
Thank you. We did actually. So yeah, proudly 2 years running, we have won that award. I think equally exciting, we took home a Gold Stevie Award for our Etihad Guest mobile app, which we launched last year. So I think for us, combined obviously with experience of being able to really use digital to evolve, traditional loyalty, because a great experience is something we all remember. And so our mobile app was something that we knew in that space for us here, but has some really, really great feedback and some great results.
Yeah, great. I also saw some initiatives you launched on LinkedIn during the pandemic, so we'll probably go there later on. But the next question is a bit more personal. Mm-hmm. So we ask this to all our guests: is there a particular brand or product that comes to mind when you think of loyalty? So a brand that you're loyal to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually really love this question because I think it often makes people, obviously coming from a loyalty space, that I'm not answering a traditional loyalty program per se, but Spotify is my absolute number one brand, which I would say I probably talk about the most and am loyal to. And why? Because I find that in such a emotive way, Spotify delivers this exceptional experience from a UX design perspective, an engagement piece on the go, super simple, but it is constantly, I suppose in traditional loyalty terms, surprising and delighting, serving me new music, new bands, information that I otherwise would not have known. However, it's used what I have listened to. And I think having read quite a little bit about their algorithms of those around me, what they're listening to, and giving me a personalized playlist to be able to, entertain me in a way that was unexpected and that I probably wouldn't have done as well if I had done it myself. Mm-hmm. So I think that combination, equally their constant evolution of using data to create, more interesting features or basically evolve my experience with that brand, is why they rate number one on my list.
Yeah, great example. And I love Spotify myself. And I guess the main takeaway is that their combination of using AI and technology with the emotional aspect of music, of course, is a perfect blend.
Yeah, and that seamlessness. Of course, it's a paid subscription, right? But I don't even think, obviously no one wants to have to pay more, for a subscription. But I think for the price that you're actually paying, the reward is so much greater. I think if music is a passion of yours, which it's definitely one of my biggest passions, is that you get back so much, and I think it's that psychological loyalty, right, and that emotional loyalty, as you said, that just really sets it apart from me, because it's not traditional in the sense of I've constructed something in order to encourage you to be loyal. It's by nature the way that it's, everything that it does, creates loyalty.
Great. So linking back from Spotify to Etihad guests, and looking back, maybe reflecting on the past 6 years, is there a specific campaign or initiative at Etihad that jumps to mind that you're proud of, and how did you measure the impact for the brand?
I found this very hard, actually, to give just one. So if we have time for two,
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. So the one that is probably most fresh is in 2020, obviously the year that has been memorable for all of us in a variety of ways. Australia, obviously being Australian. However, this particular incident with the bushfires that hit Australia impacted the world, from a variety of different lenses. And we got quite a large Australian population inside Etihad, but equally so, I think it was on every news channel, on every format, as people were wanting to know what they could do to help if they were maybe not in Australia or other parts of the world. So we connected with WIRES, which is the Wild Animal Rescue Service in Australia, and offered to do a donation drive for our global audience to be able to donate their miles that they might not be using at the moment, or they would like to put them towards a good cause. And so we did quite a lot of promotion around getting awareness of the fact that we were, I think, enabling people to do something good with their miles, to be able to feel that they would be able to make a difference in a way that they may not feel that they could do. And collectively around the world and in partnership, Etihad also contributed. It raised over $200,000 to donate towards that cause. And so I think from my perspective, in an airline loyalty program, it was a really different campaign for us, in which it really did bring to light the fact that we really wanted to show our thoughtfulness and to be able to not only for ourselves as an organization to make a difference, but help others be able to make a difference, using their hard-earned miles. So something that we were all really, really proud of, that we could make a difference.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, making difference.
Absolutely.
And the second example?
The second one, thank you for remembering. So in 2019, we relaunched our loyalty program. So we throughout, so we had a very busy 12 months from me stepping into the role, in which over my time working in various different, I suppose, loyalty or customer-centric roles, it was something that I had identified that we really needed to ensure that our mission and our vision were really clear, because as a frequent flyer program that has sometimes limited ability to engage with its customers, sometimes only when they're flying, we did have a product offering that was so much broader than just flying. So we worked with one of our agencies to build out our brand strategy and our comm strategy. And in part with that as well, it was actually reinvesting in 8 different benefits of the program that maybe had changed over time or had been replaced And so the combination of being able to really boldly, I suppose, reintroduce many benefits of the program that we knew people really loved and sometimes had missed, and to be able to wrap it up in somewhat of, really showing the personality of the brand and the organization. And I suppose, so start us on that journey of here is Etihad Guest, here's what we aim to achieve, and here's really the ethos of the brand, which is thoughtfulness, and how we can show our thoughtfulness in a variety of ways. So I think for Etihad Guest, it was a really, nice fresh start as we relaunched the program, and the results have been, measured in a variety of ways. Given it was, not just a comms piece, it was very much about, program structure and design, and equally so the comms that really package that together. But for an example, from a Net Promoter Score perspective, we saw a really positive change over the coming months in regards to customer engagement score, which is a curated metric we have here internally. And a variety of other sentiments, measurements that we have really positively received. And I think most importantly, it's because we asked members for their input, not just on the comms perspective, but what really was important to them for our evolution and for the evolution of the program. Because I feel often that as loyalty specialists or loyalty experts and certain, and using that sense in a more commercial, it can sometimes be lost that we do need to be loyal back to the people that are loyal to us, that there is no one-way loyalty. So was really important, I suppose, step in the right direction, that we were demonstrating our commitment to our members and really acknowledging and thanking them for the contribution and the loyalty that they've showed us over the years.
Yeah, indeed. Reminds me of this questions that one once posed. Are you loyal to your customers, actually? So interesting to reflect on.
Agree.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
So for the next bit, I'm going to share a model that we developed at Stampix, which is called the loyalty ladder. So I'm going to share my screen quickly. Hope this works well. So basically, we have the Net Promoter Score on the vertical axis, and then we have engagement on the horizontal one. Engagement can be measured as participation in the loyalty program. And this actually brings to mind one of your fellow Australians we had on the show earlier, Adam Posner, who said an interesting quote, which is, volume is for vanity, activity for sanity. So you can replace this with activity if you want. And then looking at the model, we basically have 4 ladders. The first 2 are on the left-hand side in the more functional area, typically inertial loyalty, where you are, you have to stay loyal because you have to, thinking of governments, or at least there's very high barriers to switch. Moving on to mercenary loyalty, where customers are paid to stay loyal, and typically this is where the airline industry is classified together with telco, energy, retail. And then moving more into the emotional side on the right, we have true loyalty, where customers feel a connection. They're willing to overcome obstacles, usually cars, fashion brands. And then, of course, the holy grail of emotional loyalty or cult loyalty is a situation where the customer feels like the brand is part of their identity. So we've got the Disneys, Nikes, and Apples of the world. So looking at this, Kim, it's a tricky question because obviously there's a lot of metrics and it's more granular. But where do you think Etihad would rank on this ladder?
Good question, actually. And if I think I would say it's probably a combination. Maybe is that not the answer you want me to say, but
there's no right or wrong.
Look, I think no. Okay, good. Back to the point we were saying is about us being loyal to our members, and equally, thanking and engaging for the loyalty they provide to us. I think it's as much about the customer and their desire to engage with the brand as it is for our ability to be able to connect with them on the level in which they want to be connected with. So I think having worked in this industry for quite some time and knowing our membership base really well, and many personally I'm in contact with. We also have some forums called our customer advisory boards where we speak with a lot of our members. I think you would have a very different response, where I would probably say we have traditionally played in, if we look back and maybe how we see many customers engaging with us now. Mercenary is probably, as your example suggests, probably a dominant space. I absolutely have had conversations with members who are equally in that true loyalty space. And some experiences that they've spoken to me about is, especially we have a big business travel community, that when they are traveling away from their families, and they might be traveling for a long time or a short time, what's really the experiences that we're able to provide them, whether that's on board or during their travel or after their travel, creates a real true loyalty and that emotional connection, because we have been able to provide an experience that is above and beyond transactional. And I suppose that may have come through in some of the other examples that I've given in regards to favorite campaigns or relaunching, as being able to make sure we make space for those experiences and creating those experiences, whether they didn't exist last year or there's something that we're working on now, is people's needs are changing. We have some really fantastic touch points in which we can engage with these members however they would like to. Not everybody wants us to necessarily provide them something custom. They may want to just, an example, they may be flying, get on board their aircraft and, have minimum interaction, which is completely fine. Equally so, I think in that true loyalty space, it's how we engage with our partners to align on those experiences and ensure that if they are dealing with a partner, we are both responsible for that consistency of that experience wherever possible, and to be sure that that member feels nurtured, whether it's engaging with us or engaging with them. So I definitely would say we are more focused on that at this point in time, because it's what a lot of people have talked to us about. And I think obviously the landscape or the world that we are living in right now has changed people's needs, and I think some of that more thoughtfulness and more consideration and consistency are maybe more highly valued than they have been in the past. So that's really important for my team and I, that we are really aware of that and constantly engaging with people. So it's not us approaching it from just a business lens. It's making sure that we are, talking to our members and really understanding their point of view. As for cult loyalty, it's an interesting one, actually. When I was looking through your loyalty ladder, in the UAE, there is a real patriotism towards Etihad, and I know it was at Qantas as well when I was in Australia, a real pride of the national carrier, and brands that have really supported sharing the culture and bringing Abu Dhabi to the world, as our tagline states. So I would say there is probably a segment of people that would have that cult loyalty towards Etihad, and I think rightly so, for what I think the organisation and the airline has done in regards to connecting the world. I think is I think that cult loyalty is well deserved.
Yeah, makes sense. And it's a mental note for myself to add Spotify to the list of cult loyalty examples. Great. So yeah, you mentioned emotional loyalty and that Etihad guests and putting thoughtfulness at the center, customer centricity approach. Those are all steps in the right directions toward emotional loyalty. Are there any other initiatives that come to mind, thinking about surprising and delighting customers, specific moments, maybe birthday rewards?
Sure. So you mentioned it before, actually, the campaign that we launched just recently, actually, which is the second phase of what we call our Your Special Guest campaign. So it was launched last year as well in amidst of the pandemic, in which we created effectively a platform for members and also non-members, for people around the world to share their stories of thoughtfulness, whether someone has been thoughtful towards them or towards their community, being, I suppose, creating, a platform to share those. And part of that was the team and I went through those nominations, some written, some film. And I mean, it was just, I find it a little bit hard to talk about sometimes. It was just really spectacular about how much kindness was in the world at a time when I think we all felt maybe that, everyone was a lot to process for everybody. There was a lot going on, and I mean, possibly, that there still is in a lot of places. And so reading through those nominations and those that were really the, most heartfelt, we worked in secret with the nominator to build a box full of things that the nominee would love. And we had over 3,000 nominations from around the world, and curated these really, beautiful boxes. And given the restrictions on travel and visiting people, these were couriered to people's houses. And in some cases, we were able to, receive some feedback from those that have received it. And it was just absolutely, so heartwarming. And I think it's also for the nominee to feel that they've been acknowledged for, maybe a thoughtful gesture that you didn't even maybe know really mattered so much to people. And also for the nominator to be able to do something, equally thoughtful back, and create something really special. So, from fathers nominating their daughters who had been volunteering, throughout COVID, to husbands nominating wives who may have been frontline workers or who may be helping the kids, friends nominating each other, colleagues nominating each other. I mean, there was endless stories of just such kindness that was going into the world. So recently, actually last week, we launched phase 2, and the theme of thoughtfulness is, definitely still present, but it's this year's theme was about positivity. So same platform, nominating people around you, or a group that may have been putting positivity into the world most recently, and equally that's positivity towards maybe yourself as a person, maybe your community, the environment as well. So I suppose opening that up, because I think we've all seen through this time, there have been many groups and many people doing some brilliant things for people, for nature, for the environment. And so, last week it was launched, and we've already got close to the number of nominations that we had received the last campaign, and equally so, just, some really moving stories. And for us, it's really important, again, and I suppose maybe for not wanting to overuse the word, but it's purely to create that platform, and to be able to spread more positivity, because we all know that those great stories do generate more positivity. So, that's definitely one that we're really, really proud of, for, I think, also giving back to the world in a time when, everyone needs some nice, more smiles, more positivity, and more thoughtfulness.
Exactly. A bit more smiles can help the world.
Exactly.
And I really like the approach, not only the positivity aspect, but also the fact that you're nominating someone else. So it's not about getting something for me, but it's actually nominating someone else. I think it's very powerful.
Agree. Thank you.
Um, Looking more at the practical side of, you mentioned building a platform specifically for this during the pandemic, a busy 12 months launching Etihad Guest. So how does a brand like Etihad tackles those challenges? Do you work with preferred partners, agencies, technology providers? And then I guess part B of the question is looking at the rewards and the benefits in there. Do you work with reward fulfillment partners who do the work for you, or are you the one by yourself, for example, handpicking those rewards? How does it work?
It's a combination of all of the above, actually, from doing having a variety of partnerships, whether that's technology partnerships, agency partnerships, fulfillment partnerships, as you mentioned, through to working in-house. We do have a lot of facilities in-house as well. I mean, obviously, as you've acknowledged, reading through some of those nominations, we felt that was really important, that given the initiative, that we were really involved in nurturing and handling with care these important nominations. However, based on obviously the variety of different touch points that a loyalty program has, I don't think it's actually feasible for everything to be done in-house. And equally so, the specialisms that come from working with partners is really important to our business. Obviously, for me, coming from a digital background, I think some of the greatest digital initiatives have been done in partnership, with different technologies or different brands or different companies, because I think that the ability that partnerships, or one of the benefits of partnerships, is it helps, organizations or activities to move at a pace that, otherwise maybe an organization wouldn't be able to do in isolation. So obviously, from a technology perspective, we have our partners for our loyalty management. We work with a variety of different agencies, some on retainer, some for brand or projects. And then obviously, being a coalition loyalty program, we have done a lot of great things as well with our partners across the board. We've got some really groovy new functionality, our real-time miles redemption, which we couldn't have done even without our partners here in the UAE, combined with our technology partners and some of our financial services partners. That really was everybody coming together to be able to enable some new features of the program that really needed to be part of our evolution.
All right. So, Kim, thanks so much for all the information. It was really interesting, and see you around. Thanks a lot.
Lovely. Thanks, Simon. Nice to chat with you.
Yeah, great. Bye.
See you. Bye.